Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Game Changer. Yes, this is the show on Bustthenet where we go into your save. I take a look at your save and make suggestions, and I've gotten the save from one of my patrons, and he's in a bit of trouble. I guess that's the best way to put it. He's lying 20th on the table and very close to the relegation zone. He got off to a decent start, managed to get a few loan signings in, but that start to the season has come undone. A win here, League Cup win, and then after that he started to struggle. Some small little glimmers of hope against Rotherham and Carlisle, but then after that, he hasn't had a win for a while. And yes, so this is the reason why we have the show, so that I can I can share my experiences with you and try to help you guys out. Okay, so let's do this methodically, right? So the first thing we do, I want to know what your finances are like. Well, okay, not bad. I mean, looking at this, just this alone. I mean, for me, it's really simple. I just look at wage budget, right? So I go to the wage budget. I see what you're currently spending on, and I kind of know that okay, all else fails, you're still gonna do a good job, right? So okay, fine. We know they're financially okay. We look at a team report. What do you have in terms of a team? Now, when you do a comparison, then I will look at mentals for your players, and I'll focus in immediately on your defenders. Now, when it comes to defenders, the first thing I look for is positioning. That's it. There's nothing else. I just go zoom in on positioning. Then, this allows me to know how your guys do when they don't have the ball. Can they get into a defense? Can they do well? Do they know which areas to go to on the pitch? Now, when I'm looking at these numbers, I see 11.57 is the average in the league. But what do we aim for? Do we aim for 11.57 or do we aim for the best, which is 12.83? You always aim for the best. That's it. And I'll explain why. If you aim for the average, you have to remember this is the average of the whole squad. So players will hardly get a chance to play. Youngsters that are in the first team, they will pull down the average. So what you want to do is you always want to aim for the best. So if you can get 12.83 or you can get close to it, then you're fine. But if you're 11.57, and if you notice the difference between your position, the average positioning and the worst positioning is about 10.29. It's not very far. So positioning is something you got to aim for, and you got to look at your defenders and go, oh shite, they don't have good positioning. What the hell am I going to do? So, okay, it's the first thing you do. Then you look at stuff like anticipation, concentration. Concentration, this is terrible. You've got really low levels of concentration for your defenders, which combined with positioning is not a good recipe. So the moment I see two of these, I know I can't play any other system except DM-based systems. Right? I'm going to go in and I'm going to go shoot in DM-based systems. Why? Because they need help. You can't play, for example, you can't play a 4-3-1-2. I wouldn't play a 4-3-1-2 with a team with defenders who have got poor positioning and poor concentration, because there's no DM screen. There's no screen to protect your midfielders. So this is the first thing. The work rate, but defenders is not that important. But what you want is positioning, anticipation, concentration. These are the three things I'm looking for. Determination is good, especially when you're in a situation like what you're in right now, where you're fighting for survival. Now, 9.71 is super low. It's like you're down a goal. Will they fight back? Let's go have coffee, tea. Forget about the game on. That's what you're going to get. I mean, I hate to sound so negative, but this is a numbers game at the end of the day. All right. What about your midfielders? Midfielders, mentals again. When it comes to the midfielders, I'm looking at several things like off the ball. Because midfielders, they need both. They need off the ball and they need positioning. Why? Because when it comes to your midfielders, you're going to be hard put to decide who can play. So you need a good mix. Positioning off the ball become equally important here. You need players who can defend during the transitions, and you need players who can actually get into attacking positions to support transitions as well. And this is off the ball. That's for when you're going attacking, and when you're going defending, it's positioning. So 9.75 below average. That's not good again, because the challenge, I know people ask me this question. I want, it's lower leagues, what can I do? Trust me, this is the hardest part of the game. and it's a part of the game that I focus in on. I really focus on this aspect of the game a lot because this is the only reason why I do well is because I spend so much time in attributes. When you're playing this game and if you don't sort out the attributes equation early, you're gonna have problems later. And every season, I don't give a rat's ass whether or not the player whether he's got 5 stars or I don't care. I don't care what his attributes are at the end of the season when I get promoted. Because when I get promoted, there's a 90% chance 90% of my squad is not going to be around anymore. Because I'll go into the market, I'll look for all the free transfers I can find, and then I'll do it again. We should enjoy this in FM17, I reckon, because I've seen some of the screenshots from FM18, and I'm beginning to think that looking at things like they've got hierarchy right now in dynamics, and I'm not saying dynamics is gonna drive the game completely, but what I do believe is that dynamics is gonna play some part in showing you your interrelationships with your players, and that might have a bearing later. But as a manager, if you've got right now, if you are the kind of manager that's got no badges and you go into a game, you're going to be hard put to try to win your players over. So the challenges that are going to come in FM18, they're similar to what's happening in FM17, except in FM17 you don't get a clue, right? You like, I mean, got these 2 players. Why can't I got this world class player. I got this average player. You put them in your team, and you go, why the hell aren't they scoring? And then you put another joker inside. Then he's doing okay, but his attributes are not even close. Why the hell isn't I just spent 35 million on this world class striker? Why isn't he performing? Yeah, dynamics will give you a very good clue as to why that's happening. So here, I started to go off on a tangent, but I just thought of the dynamics video just came out, and I was just looking at it. Just thought I'd share my thoughts, and it becomes relevant when you're talking about building a squad. Okay, so we've got work rate, which is okay. Then I got decisions, very smart team, good determination for your midfielders is excellent. Composure is not that bad, but you look at the spread between the average and the best team. Composure is important for midfielders because it lets you know whether you can play a game of whether you can play this kind of short passing games with fluid setups. Players are so close together, they need to have composure, good first touch with the ball. Otherwise, a bit of pressure, they lose the ball. So this is important. Concentration, again, this is I'm not saying you have to fill all these up and make them all impossibly high. That's not. But understanding these attributes and how they relate to your team is actually very important, because then you will know what kind of things you can do and what are the things that you can do. Okay, right now we have to fight against relegation, so I need fighters. So I'm looking for fighters in my team. I need to know what kind of a team I have, whether or not we can battle relegation. So I'm looking to see what kind of players I have. So this forms the bedrock for me on developing a strategy. All right, what about my strikers? Notice I've only stayed with mentals, because mentals are really important. If your mentals aren't good, you can forget about the rest of the attributes. Okay, mentals are really important because you need to understand what kind of a team you have. All right, now when it comes to your strikers, first thing I look at is things like off the ball, if they have it, then whether they can find space to attack. 11, 13.7, once again, acceleration is great because it gives you options, right? But here we want to look at the mentals, like off the ball, composure. All right, this is good. Work rate, so okay. So it's the situation right now with the squad is quite, I won't say dire, but definitely we have to start thinking about what we can do. Now, then we look at your physical side of your attributes. So with your defenders, when it comes to the physicality of your defenders, right? Jumping reach, very low. Okay. This is not good. So I'm aiming for 13 for my defenders. So if I look at my defenders, in the box, I need at least 12 to 13 for them to deal with headers. I always bring Stephen Artillery up in my game. Stephen Artillery, if you looked at all his other attributes in my Glossicity save, he was nothing. I mean, nobody would. Most of the people who send comments and got shocked got a shock when I fielded Stephen Arthuri in my first season in the Premiership and in the championship, because he had nothing for tackling. I mean, this guy was like a joke when it comes to tackling, but he had something the other defenders didn't have. He had fantastic jumping reach and phenomenal hitting. So I actually put him in the box, and I played a game where I allowed teams to attack me because Arthur Worry was there to deal with hitters. I knew that if I gave them a chance to cross the ball, he'd get to it. And that's all I wanted in my team. So you need to understand the importance of certain attributes and how they give you options when you're building a tactic. So in terms of acceleration, pretty solid. Then I'm looking at jumping reach for defenders, not that good. Okay. Now, what about your attackers' jumping reach? Acceleration. Ooh, okay, 12.6. But you look at Rotherham, 15.5. Holy cow. Okay, this is, you're way below average. I mean, dude, you're like 15 in the league, and there's not many other teams below you. So this is important because I now know what the rest of the league is like. The rest of the league is Speedy Gonzalez compared to this team, Barry. Okay, so we know that we have certain issues in defense, so we got to be very careful. So what this tells me, I've got certain formations I can play, certain formations I should just stay the hell away from. Okay, so okay, basically any formation where I've got wing backs attacking is not bad. However, my boys at the back are always gonna have a problem. Okay, so and then I have to find a way for me to deal with crosses in the team because my boys aren't very good. I mean, I need 13 or 14 for my positioning, for my heading, for my jumping reach. Okay, we've done that. Now, okay, let's go to the second. That's the first thing. We found where we sit with our team. Now, what about your training? I noticed one thing about your training. You've done this, which is Major. No, don't do this. I mean, so you knock off about 10% of the training time, right? And you get them to train on their attribute development. But here you're in trouble. You notice this, if you drag it all the way to the right, you get no match preparation. So basically your boys, seriously, it's like telling your boys this, okay, all right boys, let's go train. Okay, kick the ball about. Very good, you've kicked the ball about. All right, done. Well done. Now go home. Boss, what about the game this weekend? Don't worry about the game. Well, who are we playing? I don't know. Just go home, have a beer, chill out. Yeah, we'll see you for the game. Who are we playing? I have no idea, boys. Just, don't give a shit. That's what you're telling your boys. Okay, seriously, that's what you're telling your boys. Your boys have no clue what they're supposed to be doing. They haven't been preparing for any of their games over the weekend. No wonder you've been on a losing streak. Come on, don't do this to your team. This is, look, I have to crack a joke. Okay, so what you do is, at most this half a day, okay, because by 3 p.m. you've got a few days, you got to set it a few days before, right? So you've put me in a bad spot. I come into this game, the match is today, and I can't train my boys. So really, 3 p.m. Monday deadline to set. Today is not Monday, this is Saturday. Okay, so what do? I'm just gonna go attacking movement from this day onwards. Okay, so I mean, at home you can do like attacking movements to some of your teams. For tough away matches, you might want to do defensive positioning, and then defensive set pieces. Here you got attacking movement. Okay, why is this important? This is important because you get a short-term bonus. So when you go into the game, if you're doing attacking movement, attributes related to attacking movement, like off the ball, okay, they get a small little boost for a short while in the game. And that's one of the reasons why the first 50, I spend so much time looking at the first 5 to 10 minutes of a game. I'm like analyzing the game, going, damn it, I better get. It's like you've been given a bonus, don't you want to use it? It's like going to a casino and the guy tells you got an extra roll. Okay, but you can only use the extra roll for the first 10 minutes. If you don't use the extra roll in the first 10 minutes, you lost the extra roll. So now I've got an extra roll. Why don't you want to use it? It's like, I don't get it. So get this. Make sure you do this. Now, how many days do you need? Minimum half a day or 2 days. Now, the other thing is this. When you are in a lower leagues and you're trying to get promoted, don't bother about focus trading. Just stay on balance. Why? One screw up and you're screwed. Okay, so just focus on balance training, because you won't be able. I mean, yes, I do this a lot. I do fitness training a lot. Yeah, that's because I'm very focused. It's either fitness and balance or just balance. Don't worry about the rest, because you're getting yourself promoted. These players are not going to be around long enough. So what's a 1 point attribute increase? Doesn't really make a difference. So it's not really worth the effort. Okay, now we've done this, now we've done everything. Now let's look at the last few games. Okay, now before that, let's look at your tactics. You've got several tactics. You got a 4-1-3-2, you got 4-3-3, and you got 4-1-4-1. All right, now when I am in trouble, I like to use two striker systems. Why? Worst case scenario, these two are the only ones that are breaking off. In defense, I just got these two to worry about. They can try and score me some goals. One striker systems have a fundamental issue. The guy on top, he better be good. You better be playing on a shape that allows others to come in to support them. And then the problem is, once you push everybody up looking for a goal, you leave your flanks exposed. Now, when we went through the attributes, we discovered the rest of the league as well, faster strikers. We discovered our positioning may not be that fantastic. And then if I'm looking at players then I have my little thing here. God, I don't even know what I'm calling it. But over here, I've got this little match. I call this match day stats. So I'm looking at Billy Robertson, right? So you've got Billy Robertson, you're playing a lone man formation. Now look at Billy Robertson. In the air, he's not very good. He's won like 4 headers out of the 13 he's attempted. So aerially, you can't drop him. Okay, aerially, sending him crosses is not going to help. So he's got like one limitation: balls that to be played to feet. Wow. Okay, so that's a poser already. If he had height and jumping reach, then maybe I wouldn't mind him being a lone man. Then he can hold up the ball and get others into play. There's an issue there already. So we know that Billy Robertson is great. He's doing well for you. He's in 18 appearances, has scored 9 goals. But I think Billy Robertson will do even better if he had a partner. Okay, so this is one option. So here I'll be looking at 2 striker combinations. So I immediately look at the tactics and I rule out 2 of your systems, because now I'm in a relegation dogfight. But first up, let's look at your games. Now, you started off really well in the season with this win over Exeter, but I'm more interested in why you failed to, what happened in some of your matches. Against Bristol City, you took the lead, but you conceded 2 goals from corners. My biggest concern in this match is how your boys at the back work the ball up. Now, if you're looking at this game, you notice one thing: you're playing out of defense, right? But when the boys get the ball, they move the ball up. In a lot of situations, this would happen. They fail to make simple passes. You put yourself into very dangerous positions. And this, for me, if I see a highlight like this, I get very concerned, because something needs to be fixed. The opposition is pressing you high up the pitch. You already scored the early goal. Something is going to happen, and if you don't fix it, you're going to lose. So that little highlight would force me into making a change. I would definitely be looking at what I can do to my team so that we can do better with the ball. Now, a 4-1-3-2 isn't a bad option. You use a 4-1-3-2 in one of your games. And unfortunately for you, your boys conceded, because you remember the 4-1-3-2 gives up positioning on the flanks, so you're gonna have to deal with crosses, and if those crosses are not dealt with, then you got to deal with the guy in the box. If the boy in the box isn't dealt with, that's what happens. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tweak your tactics slightly. It's time to look at some of your tactics. Now, in this tactic, I'm a bit concerned. Firstly, you've got 2 roaming positions here. You got a support duty here. It's good if you have a support duty if these 2 boys are strong enough in the challenge. They're not. So what you got, because these 2 guys are roaming, then you got this fullback on attack. He bombs forward. He's got no real support on this flank. You might open yourself up. Furthermore, you got 3 players on support duties up front. What are they doing? You don't really have a player attacking space. And then when I look at your shouts, it gets a bit worse. Because in your shouts, you're telling your team, let's drop deep. Let's roam around while we're there. Then when we have the ball, let's play short into passes. Don't worry about looking for true passes here. Okay? And we'll do everything from the back slowly. Notice one of the highlights earlier where you had trouble moving the ball out because you put under pressure. That's what's happened in your tactic. So here we need to make changes to your tactic. Your next tactic is a pure counter-attacking tactic. Great, but certain things don't make any sense to me. When you want to build a counter-attacking tactic, you don't use the shout player or defense. Just remove that shout. Most other things here make some sense, but we're going to tweak this as well in our next game. I'm going to avoid using this 4-1-4-1 for now. Why? We want to play 2 striker system, so I'm going to design a new tactic for you. Well, we've played our 2 matches. Against Leyton Orient, we won that match 1-0. We used the 5-1-2-2. The key thing here to remember is this, and this is what I discovered about what you did wrong. The first thing, you got to make sure that training, you have match prep, so you prepare for a game. The second thing, your players, the choices you made. In support duties, make sure they've got good positioning, that they can do the job of support, tackle. If you want them to attack, you want them to find goal scoring opportunities, make sure they have the right kind of attack duties. I've written about this in my book in a lot of detail about core role attributes, or all the for these certain duties, what are the attributes you need. So remember to go and check that section of the book out. Now, the other thing that I noticed was you use the shout, pass, play out of defense. Now, when you are playing a defensive tactic, when you want to hit teams on a counter, that is the one team instruction you never use. You do not use the team instruction, play out a defense, if you want to play counter attacking football. We played long ball football for this one. It was a case of backs to the wall and just launching those balls forward and hoping one of them sticks. And that's what we did. And in the match against Leyton Orient, yes, you see a 4-0 against Colchester there too. Billy Robertson, we were defending deep. They tried to clear the ball. Defender comes up, hoofs the ball right over the top of the defenders, and we score. It was a simple style of football that we played. There was nothing of even remotely looking like TikTok, tiki-taka football here. No, it was, we get a chance, we hurl the ball. We get a chance, we hurl the ball. And it was if you're looking at the match stats, nothing too much. Maybe 46% possession, 2 on shot, but we had 1 really good opportunity. So if I'm looking at my own tactic, the strength of the tactic lay in the fact that we've got this guy on direct and more risky passes, and then we got all the guys at the back not doing anything fantastic. No passing out, no short passes from the keeper, nothing to put us under pressure. We got this guy. This is the one player you might have to go and look out for. You might need one more player in your team to do some attacking thrust because you don't have a lot. This guy needs passing decisions, vision off the ball. Then your key here is Bates and Pack here. These 2 guys, if you want to use the way I use home Dennis here, you got to make sure Bates and Pack are playing on this side of the flank. Because Bates is probably your best ball-winning midfielder, and Pack he may not have the acceleration, but he has a positional sense of being in the right place at the right time. In fact, the amount of times that Leyton Orient tried to score against us and failed was kind of shocking for me, because every time they didn't have very good shots on target. Their key pass combinations all flat line because they were playing flat. We went structured and stretched them, and then the shots on our goal, most of them outside the box and in angles. They didn't have very good goal scoring opportunities in this game, and we kept them at bay, and we scored well. We played well, rather. In our next match, we played Colchester. Now, against Colchester, I used a different tactic. I used your 4-1-3-2, and they were playing a 4-4-2. Now, the 4-1-3-2, once again, with the 4-1-3-2, I made certain changes. The challenge here is, who are you going to play in your system? We actually went with Charles Cook in this match. This was the exact, you will see the whole playthrough in the show in the hot seat. Now, for the patrons, you will get this chance where you actually see the changes that I made in the game. Now, I've noticed you've got this best duty, best role, and best all this. Just ignore this. I ignore this in the game. I find my own best role, my own best duty. I've written it out for you guys in the book. Just go and check what those attributes are, and then you make your decision accordingly. So I would not bother with all these 3. Here, in this 4-1-3-2, we had this guy again, more direct, more risky passes. We had this guy playing more direct passes. So I had this ICBM kind of launch pad from the back. In midfield, these 2 guys were playing more or less like ball-winning midfielders on support, carry rails, right? They shuttle to the flanks. They bite people with the ball, and they just nibble and make things tough on them. Here, what you did was close down much more. I removed that shot because it's unnecessary. You use close down more, it's a lot better. You don't want them to go all over the place, but you want them to shut down passing lanes. We also had a player at the back, he was the DLP on defense, playing more direct passes. Up top, Nothing fantastic except for the poacher closing down much more. We played on mentality, control, and structure, and these were our shots. Play narrow, push high up, roll from positions, pressure, goalkeeper distribution. Nothing else. Simple football. Why push high up? I wanted to compress the spaces that the opposition had when they played the game. We play on control and structure because we were playing at home. Structured, why 4-4-2? They love playing structure, but we also wanted to stretch the match as well. We scored plenty of goals in this game. They tried to clear the ball, but we have enough players in position so that it's very hard for them to get themselves out of trouble. We Pack played brilliantly at the back. Bates and Pack combined well. The only problem is Mellis. Mellis sometimes is a bit dodgy. Hope opened the scoring. Yes, Hope played in this game instead of Taylor. In the first match, I used Taylor as the deep lying forward and support. Here I went with Hope, and Hope had a blinder. He actually scored 2 goals. Here, Holmes Dennis playing as a complete wing back, crossing the ball for Hope from a set piece. They did brilliantly. We took a 2-goal lead. And then we actually extended the lead to 3 from a corner set piece routine. And then at this point, I actually changed the tactic to the 5-3-2 that we have, right? So the Shaggypika system, I call it the Shaggypika now. And we continue to dominate because the AI actually changed to a narrow 4-2-3-1 at this point. And we went with our 5-3-2 and we continued. You have the players in your team actually to do quite well. And Barry beat Colchester 4-0 on the day. Well, in summary, don't forget, positioning is very important, especially for duties you expect to see go do some tackling. You need some width in your tactics, so don't forget that a complete wingback is sometimes not a bad option, but make sure he's playing on the right flank where there's a lot of support. You can also use a 5-1-2-2 as a tactic. I use that against 4-2-3-1s. The 4-2-3-1s don't really like the tactic very much, especially because they control space defensively very well. And we noticed that your players are not very good at keeping the ball and moving the ball up. You were playing counter attacking with that shout, play our defense. So remove that shout because it's not necessary. You're also using close down much more as a team shout, which is also not necessary. Decide which areas to the pitch you want to close down much more, and you'll be fine. And finally, there's going to be a full version of this playthrough for all my patrons. The show is called In the Hot Seat, and you can check out exactly what I did during the games. Well, I hope you enjoyed this edition of Game Changer, and thank you for watching the show. And once again, thanks to all my patrons for their continued support. I hope to catch up with all of you very, very soon. So you guys take care. Have a good one. Bye-bye.